Did the French people reach their goals during the French Revolution? Was the king mistaken? Yes, he was. More than one time. How and why? Let's get started. (1789).
Fight!
It was not that a happy ending. Why is that? Let's go back in time. Like in any revolution, one person is happy, satisfied, bathing in milk. Cleo's sorry. And usually authoritative and faced by groups of people, thousands or millions, that are angry, powerless, with nothing left to fear or lose. Anyway, in such tension, the ball keeps going back and forth between these two until someone strikes. Like in tennis. And that's where our story begins. It's the tennis court oath. The French society back then was divided into three levels. And they used to call it the ancient regime. I cannot really pronounce it with my amazing French. Anyway, the first level was the clergy, which is basically the church and whoever was involved with it. And we don't need to talk about money and power here. The word church in these times explains itself. The second is the nobility, some aristocrats and some royal family members. And the third one is the common people like you and me, and of course the common people were the ones paying heavy taxes with almost no political participation, but we will get to that in a second. This guy, Charles Alexandre de Calonne, was appointed to take over the finances at this period, and his job was to solve the king's problems, who is Louis XVI, by the way, if we forgot to mention, and is faced by some budget issues that might lead to bankruptcy. He, as a government official, proposed to increase the taxes on the clergy and the nobility class, and they fell in love with the idea. Are you kidding me? Of course not. If you believe that, I would be very disappointed. Anyway, so the idea was met with a rejection, and the king had to call for an Estate General, which was basically a meeting that involved all the three classes to discuss and eventually vote on any existing problem. This meeting was in 1789, and the last time this meeting was called for was in 1614. Imagine the gap. Votes were distributed as follows. 1 vote for the clergy, 1 vote for the nobility, and 1 vote for the common people, which was absurd. Imagine you have a family, a mom, a dad, and you are one of 6 kids. Mom has a vote, dad has a vote, and you, the 6 kids, have a vote. Eventually, whatever the clergy and the nobility decide, it happens as they were mostly on the same page. On June 20th, 1789, and after the Third Estate has declared themselves a national assembly, which basically meant in your face, Louis, we're in control now because we are the people. The Third Estate, or the common people, found out that their meeting hall is closed by orders of the king. The Third Estate were like, okay, come on guys, let's assemble there in this tennis court. And here it began, with the tennis court oath, where they insisted on not moving from there until the formation of a new constitution, a constitution that might give them more a fair share of politics. If you were a dictator, what would you do in a situation like this? Well, you wouldn't make a great dictator, and you know it. Anyway, you would try to hit back, and that was the fear of the Third Estate. That's why they decided to hit first and storm the Bastille, which was used as a state prison, and they believed it was a good start to free the prisoners, get the gunpowder, and take over before it's too late. The storming of the Bastille represents freedom from tyranny, and that is why it's celebrated as a national holiday in France, July 14th of 1789. Anyway, things became hectic after that, and hectic is a nice word to put it. A new constitution was made, but the king was still in power, but with lots of limitations, which led him after that to try and flee France. But it was a failed attempt which led, after a period of time, to his trial and execution by the guillotine, which was one of the most humane ways for capital punishment. It was a tool used without inflicting any kind of pain. The king was executed after he lost trust of the people and after being convicted of being against the revolution, and then France became a republic. Now it's time for the Reign of Terror. The revolutionary government was just going nuts during this period. It was led by Maximilien Robespierre, who was a French lawyer and a politician and the president of Jacobin Club, which was the most famous political group at the time of the revolution. The Reign of Terror was a process of finding the traitors, arresting them, and putting them into sometimes one-day trial and then execute them by the guillotine. The Reign of Terror took around 17,000 lives. We will not jump deep into Maximilien Robespierre, as this man has lots of opinions around him, oppositions and supporters, but maybe he will have a video of his own. Anyway, Maximilien Robespierre was executed in 1794. and by that comes the end of the Reign of Terror. And in 1799, Napoleon took power from the revolutionary government through a strike against the state, and that was, as lots of historians see it, the end of the French Revolution. It took 10 years to reach from one man to another,